My anger issues evolved from basically growing up, having a stepdad, um, just like stress in the family, chaos. I've been learning to express myself. Communication with your biological parents and your siblings is real because it brings out who you are and you can really see yourself in the mirror. You know what I'm saying? I think music is a good thing too. Like everybody heard that Michael Jackson song, "You Gotta Look at the Man in the Mirror." That's one of the realest songs out here. Music speaking of change and positive things, that's real. You say self-expression, express yourself, be a free thinker. You know what I mean? Don't let people tell you how to think for yourself. A lot of people got problems with doctors. They say, oh, they want to tell you how to think. They want to tell you how to do this. Doctors don't want to tell you how to do nothing. All they want to tell you how to do is to communicate and tell them when you have a problem so they can guide you. You don't even have to go to a doctor. I ain't saying everybody need to go to a doctor, you know what I'm saying? Real talk. That ain't for everybody, and I know it ain't. You know what I mean? It's really not for everybody. I mean, sometimes it ain't for me, and I don't even go see my doctor. What I do, you can go to church. My family had a specific religion growing up. We was Pentecostal. We went to church, prayed. Who was there to pick me back up? It was my mother. She was the realest one to pick me back up, and she helped me out. You know what I mean? When I didn't have a clue what to do. And I got hospitalized, and next thing you know, I found strength. Sickness is when you don't have hope and understanding, you don't have a belief, you don't know what's going on. You're in like an element of a nightmare. If my attention is off key, if I'm scattered and I can't function properly when it comes to getting a good night's rest, and I find I can't even find relaxation in closing my eyes and just easing my thoughts, then I either need to talk to somebody, and if it's real bad, I may need to take some medicine. That's all it is. You know what I mean? It isn't nothing big. My mother gave me every strength I have. She always taught me, use your words. And if your words don't work, and that person is really trying to, you know what I'm saying, afflict you with pain, then you have to do what you gotta do to, you know what I'm saying, keep yourself out of harm's way.
When I was younger, my family practiced, they're Catholics, and that's how I grew up. I was always confused with religion. Like, I didn't know if I should believe or not. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm mad at God or this and that, which is common, but I don't know. I would actually kind of get into arguments with it. But now I don't believe in a specific religion, but the religion I grew up in was Catholic. It was hard for me when I was drifting away from it because my whole family believes in this, and they're telling me that I'm becoming more Americanized, or that it's stupid that I should believe in God and that God will help me get out of these places. And I really don't believe in that. I believe differently. I think there's a higher power, but not necessarily a specific religion. I feel like in Dominican Republic, they're just starting to get to know mental health. It's like over here, like people are just trying to accept gay marriage and getting to know each other, but it's very controversial. That's the same thing with mental health in Dominican Republic. There are like services provided and there's doctors, but it's just not as widely known as in here or accepted. And a lot of people really think that mental health is people just acting, like acting immature, not getting over things, or not accepting things, just making a big fuss about something that's supposedly to be small. If you're crazy, you're supposedly crazy, like psychotic, schizophrenic crazy. There's no like she's bipolar, she has bipolar PTSD, that's not talked about. It's either you're real crazy, you're seeing things and you're out of it, or you're just making a fuss about something that's not supposed to be making a fuss. If you came from the Dominican Republic with a child, and that child was acting up or something, that child will get a whooping, and I don't know what, but you don't really go to a therapist. That's Americanized. That's not in it. It's just something that doesn't happen. Usually, when somebody becomes involved with therapists and DSS and stuff like that, it's because there was an intervention by the state or by in school, one of the teachers noticed the kid is doing something and it needs mental health services and stuff like that. But I don't think any parent Dominican will come out to get a therapist or anything like that. Like, I'm grateful in a way that I'm here and I'm not look. People know that I have issues because my past, because I have certain diagnoses. As in Dominican Republic, it wouldn't be looked at like that. It would be looked like I'm just being fine or whatever. So that's something that I'm grateful for, and I think other people must be.
As an African American, I had a responsibility and a duty to my race and to my family because of the struggles that African Americans have had since they were brought to this country. Subtle racism and discrimination, that it wasn't good enough to just be good. I had to be 2 or 3 times as good as anyone else in order to be recognized, in order to be seen as worthy. African American culture, there's a lot of stigma around mental illness and around emotional difficulties or issues. And I think there are a lot of reasons for that. One, I think historically, coming up from slavery and then going through segregation and really horrible times, families didn't have the leisure to talk about their feelings. You know, you were so busy just trying to survive. It didn't matter whether you were depressed or what you felt about something. You know, you were just trying to save your neck and save your family's neck. So I think that, like, made people less sensitive to emotional things and very used to kind of ignoring them or sweeping them under the rug or thinking that it's not as important as basic survival. As a kid, I remember watching television with my grandmother. We were watching soap operas, and the person on the soap opera was going to a therapist, and she said, "Oh, that's what rich white women do, you know, who are neurotic and have nothing better to do." You know, it was like there was no way a black person would go to a therapist. You know, the very thought of going to a stranger and telling your problems, you know, telling family secrets or something personal, you know, they look at you like you're crazy. You know, how dare you? Or why would you even think that? You know, talk to your mother, talk to your sister, talk to your cousin, talk to the, you know, maybe talk to the minister. You know, that was kind of okay. But in general, going outside the family to talk about things, even as educated as my family was, it was still like looked down upon.
I am a Hispanic Dominican young woman. In my culture, we value education, you know, following old traditions, family values. I try to follow my faith. What they expect in a young adult is that they need to be more matured, emotionally, as well as spiritually, to carry responsibilities in the house. There are a lot of people in the mental health field that share the same culture as I do, so they understand completely. And then there are other people who has a different culture, and I have to respect their opinions, their views of life, and their traditions as long as they don't impose anything on me. They want me to recover, but they really don't get too involved with it, because sometimes, like, in some ways, like, my family think I could just snap out of it, or at least that's my immediate family, who just, they think that my mental illness is not a real illness, that I'm just lazy, and they use a Spanish term for that, vagabunda. I'm sure there's a lot of people who go through the same thing, but that's how it is with my culture, you know. They don't understand. The people who provide services for me, like in the mental health field, they help me recover in many ways. It's always been my case manager trying to persuade my mom that what they're trying to do for me is necessary and very helpful. And sometimes it's hard, like, when I try to talk to my mom about my, like, condition and stuff, and she just thinks it's just nothing serious, like I could just snap out of it. My sister sometimes thinks that I could just, like, snap out of it, and just, she would have me affirm that I'm not crazy. Like, you're not crazy, right? You're not crazy. And I'm like, no, of course not. And there's always been some kind of a stigma behind that. But the mental health system does try to help, but they also try to help make my families and our culture as a whole understand that this is a real illness.
And my teacher, he helped us, you know, with a lot of things as far as like school and spirituality and things like that. My brother, my sister, my grandmother, my grandfather, they inspire me all the time. Every time I see them, I just get motivated to do the best I can, you know what I'm saying, as far as like what I can do in the community. And my grandmother, she's one of the main, you know, foundations of the family till this day. You know, she's 95 years old, and she's always talking about, you know, how we need God in our life, and you know, she's our spiritual base, spiritual center of the family. Follow a path that leads you to greater horizons, overcoming all of the negatives that exist, you know what I'm saying? Be on a path where your family's gonna benefit, friends are gonna benefit. Some people have a mental illness, and some people, you know, don't know how to react to it.